Welcome to the 2025 Spokane City Council Candidates Forum. I'm Brad Barnett, President of the Spokane Business Association. Our goal as a business advocacy organization is to bring you issues that affect your life. So our goal today with the Candidates Forum is to share information so that you can make an informed decision when you vote this November. This segment will focus on Spokane City Council District 1. I want to welcome our current District 1 Representative Jonathan Bingle for being with us today. We have reached out several times to his opponent, Sarah Dixit, to join us. She's chosen not to be here today. We have prepared a list of 6 questions for all the candidates. These questions were sent to the candidates in advance. Our goal, again, is to get the information out there. We're not here to got you on questions. And we're also going to allow the candidates to have an opening and closing statement. So, again, thank you, Councilman Bingle, for being here. And you'll have 4 minutes for your opening statement.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Brad and SBA and everybody here for having me today. I appreciate the opportunity. A little bit about myself. I'm born and raised in Spokane, Washington. I'm a Rogers High School graduate. I attended the community colleges of Spokane, go Sasquatch. While I was in college, I started a business that was actually more of an accident than anything. I felt like I was doing somebody a favor and then did it really well, and all of a sudden it grew into something. And about 13 years ago, I quit my job to pursue it full time. And roughly around that time, my wife and I got married, and she joined, and it became something that was just really special for us. And now that we're here in the city of Spokane, running a business, raising a family, the future of Spokane just matters pretty dearly to me. I have a 5-year-old son, I have 2-year-old twins, and I want my children to want to live in the city of Spokane. And I know that they're going to choose Spokane when there is plenty of opportunity, when it's safe, when they feel like this is a place where they can raise a family and start a business, and thrive themselves here. And one of the reasons why I'm running for city council is because I just think that Spokane deserves to be a clean city, a safe city, a place where families feel safe, where they can take their kids to the park without worrying about needles, or go downtown without having worrying about their windows being broken out, and just creating a place where, again, somebody feels comfortable establishing roots here. And one of the things that I've known from my time here in the city is that people see Spokane as a good launching point. I don't see many who see it as a good destination, and I want this to be a place where they see it as a destination where, that's the place where, I can be really successful. And so I think the people of Spokane deserve leadership that represents them in that way. And in my time on council, what I found is we have a lot of elected officials. I don't see a lot of elected leaders who are leading on the issues that matter to the city of Spokane. And so I hope that people like myself and more people who are focused on city issues, not national issues, issues that affect the people who live here, I hope that we can find a lot more who decide to step up into office, because for Spokane to be a different place, we need more common sense, reasonable governors in these positions, because the dirty little secret is that we actually don't need new laws, we don't need new money, we just need new leadership. And so I'm here hoping to provide some of that for the city of Spokane.
Okay, thank you so much, Councilman. Like I said, we have 6 questions, and the first question I have for you is, Spokane has one of the highest overdose death rates in the nation. What would you do from a leadership position on City Council to try to course correct for that?
Yeah, and the first thing we have to do is we have to acknowledge what the issue is. So a lot of times, things like addiction or mental illness gets mixed up in the homelessness situation. And what the problem is with the current elected leadership, myself excluded, is that we have a lot of people who are trying to address a human issue as if it's a housing issue. And the problem is that you can build as much housing as you want, but if you don't address the actual brokenness of the human spirit, then you're just going to still have a bunch of people who have issues, except for now we've given them housing. And unfortunately, folks, if we don't address the issues underlying, then we find ourselves in a position where a lot of our lower income housing, things like that we're building, are being destroyed because we still haven't addressed the issue. So what we need to do is we need to first identify that what we have is an addiction crisis here in the city of Spokane. And to address addiction, we need a space for people to go and receive the services that they need. And in the city of Spokane, currently we have an imbalance. You need both engagement and enforcement, and unfortunately the current leadership is so focused on engagement that there is no enforcement. To address addiction issues, you need places where people can go and have some extended stay addiction help, and that's currently what we're lacking right now. What I would like to see us do, and what I've proposed many times, is with the $1590 that are coming in, which are just renamed the HEART Fund, instead of continuing to build housing where it becomes housing only as opposed to housing first, what we need to do is we need to bond those dollars out, and we need to build the facilities necessary to address the people who are living in Spokane or from Spokane. So we have about 1,800 people who are here, who are homeless in the city of Spokane, and unfortunately, somewhere around half to 2/3 are not from the city of Spokane. We do have the resources necessary to address the people who are from Spokane or who live here, and if we took a Spokane first approach and we approached, address the people who are living here and are from here, we have all the resources necessary to do it. We don't necessarily have the infrastructure. We need to focus on building that infrastructure. Once we get that in place, then I think we're going to see some real progress. And then for folks who are not interested in voluntarily taking that position, we need to continue to advocate to our state leadership so that we can let them know that what we need is, again, we need help funding the infrastructure necessary. We also need the laws to change to where we can involuntarily detain folks if necessary, because folks who are in crisis, in addiction, have ceded their agency to a substance, and they need right now, the community needs to be able to step in on their behalf so that we can save their lives, because we're on track to lose 500 people this year, and that's just completely unacceptable.
Thanks so much. Second question is, the Spokane Business Association has proposed an amendment to the Spokane City Charter. I think hopefully you've seen at least a draft of that. This amendment would really restore a lot of the language from the 2023 Prop 1, which was passed by almost 75% of our voters, some of the language from the 2024 version from the funding. So what is your view on this proposed city amendment? Is it needed, and what difference do you think it could make in the community?
Yeah, it's very needed. So as a big proponent of Prop 1, I was very sad when the state Supreme Court determined to overturn it on a real nonsense ruling determining that it was administrative as opposed to legislative, which is a conversation in and of itself. But once that was overturned, the city council could have stepped in and immediately adopted Prop 1 as written, which is something that I proposed, and unfortunately that failed with the current elected leadership that we have. But it is important for us to take this back out. And the reason why it's important is because you have your charter, which is, again, really the people's constitution, what the people are agreeing to and what they want. And then your Spokane Municipal Code, which is how Prop 1 was adopted, is really more the elected leaders' constitution. By putting it into the charter, it makes it to where it is not an option for the elected leadership to enforce those laws and to enforce that those sections of the charter. By putting it into the charter as opposed to the code, again, it pardon me, it makes it to where we have to do those things. That's why it's really, really important, because currently, as we saw, current elected officials are able to overturn that and decide that they don't want to put that in. So the people definitely wanted it. They demanded it. They're still demanding it. And as elected leaders, we need to have much bigger ears than mouths. And I think that we need to sit down, listen, and enforce it and adopt it. The reason why it's also very good is because it creates a lot of shalls, which again does not give the option for law enforcement as well. You shall enforce this. And one of the things I hear from our current laws that we adopted, that I colloquially call Prop None as opposed to Prop 1, is that it lacks a clear enforcement arm. And what that does for our law enforcement, they're already dealing with difficult situations, and then we force upon them a difficult decision in that difficult situation. And unfortunately, many of our law enforcement officers have told me that if they go into a situation like that where there is low government interest, which is a technical term that I don't fully understand, but if there's low government interest, then unfortunately, if something were to escalate into a physical altercation, which we obviously hope doesn't happen, but if it escalated into that position, they could lose their licensing with the CJTC, which no matter how much we tell them we will support you, if the Criminal Justice Training Center decides that they're going to pull their certification, they can no longer be law enforcement officers in the city of Spokane or really anywhere in the state, because you're going to have to explain why your certification was pulled in another state. So adopting it into the charter is going to create clear enforcement language that is good. It creates a real pathway for the citizens to receive the policies that they've been asking for, and doesn't allow people in my position to overturn the will of the people.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. Moving on to question number 3. Other than street-level homelessness and addiction in downtown Spokane, what do you think the biggest issues are facing our business community right now, and what, if any, role do you think the City Council has in assisting those issues?
Yeah, and as a small business owner, I feel the pain of operating a business in the state of Washington and in the city of Spokane. Taxes are far too high. There's too great a burden that's been placed on our business owners, and we just passed a new law on Monday in the city that again shifts. It creates an elevated burden onto our contractors and our business owners here, which will increase costs, and unfortunately will mean that we're going to have to raise taxes or raise fees or something to pay for the increased cost. What we need is more elected leaders who understand what it's like to run a business, to sign the front of a check and not just the back of a check, who know what it's like when you got to grind and you got to dig deep and maybe take on some loans to advance your business. And we just don't have a lot of that perspective currently in the city of Spokane. Taxes are a big deal. Getting through the permitting process in the city of Spokane is very difficult. I think we have great employees who are trying to do the right thing, but we need to make sure that department is fully staffed. We need to continue to invest in different technologies, as we see as AI is making its meteoric rise right now. There are a lot of programs that we could be implementing. One of the programs that I championed and passed at the city of Spokane was around solar installation. And the reason why I championed it was because we adopted an AI platform to help us with the permitting of solar. And I think it's a great test case for us to understand how we can implement the new tools to make the city of Spokane more efficient with the current dollars that we have. Hiring is a huge problem for us, and I think it is time for, again, city leadership to determine that just giving out benefits to folks who are not interested in working, even though that they are fully capable of working, that time has passed. We need folks to be out in the community working. And again, one of the biggest shocks that I've found in this position is that the unemployment rate actually only takes into account folks who are looking for work. And during COVID, we had 10 million people exit the workforce and are still receiving benefits to not be in the workforce. So it's time for us to, again, champion our businesses so that they can be successful here, because the businesses are the ones who provide the jobs, who then, those people are then able to buy homes, are able to purchase things from businesses here. And so by championing small businesses, we're actually championing workers, we're championing the city, we're championing good governance. And so that's what I would do.
All right. Thank you. Let's move on to question number 4. Given the importance to our region, what would you do to help bring people back downtown to enjoy the beauty and the amenities we have in our amazing city? And if you could maybe include some short-term and long-term solutions to make a change.
Yeah, I think the problems facing downtown right now, and not just downtown, but the city of Spokane in general, is that people don't feel safe. And for people to want to come downtown, again, you have to do 2 things. Number 1, downtown needs to be safe, and it needs to appear safe, okay? Because they're 2 different things, the reality and the perception. Now, the perception, in my mind, will follow the reality. And so if we just absolutely put an emphasis on it is unacceptable to be doing drugs in public, it is unacceptable to allow folks who are out of their mind to just be wandering our streets, it is unacceptable to tolerate broken windows and stolen goods and anything along those lines. By just enforcing the laws that we have on the books, downtown is going to be safer, the city of Spokane is going to be safer. And then once people realize that we have been removing the riffraff from the streets, people are going to come downtown again because, as you mentioned, downtown is beautiful, okay? We have, the gem of the city, Riverfront Park, is downtown. We have a river running through our downtown. It's a beautiful place to work. And then, you can take your lunch break and you can go walk through the park, so you can walk through the trails that we have and all the loops that we have downtown that are just absolutely incredible. But people are not going to want to do that until they feel safe. And so every policy that we pass should be focused on how does this make downtown and Spokane safer. The perception will follow, but how do we start there? I think too many people right now are focused on the perception. I hear many people talking about, well, how do we get the message out that downtown is safe? If downtown is safe, it will just get out, okay? We don't need to lie about what's happening. We don't need to bend the truth. We don't need to, bend statistics or, redefine crimes to where, our crime numbers are down, which are things that we're currently doing. What we need to do is, again, just enforce the laws that we have on the books. When downtown is safe, people will come downtown again.
Awesome. Question 5 is, what's your current view of the city budget, and what would you do to stabilize the budget, make sure we have a solid foundation for the future?
Yeah, so when it comes to budgeting, we need to realize again what government exists to do. I think there are niceties and necessities. Again, current leadership is more focused on the niceties than they are on the necessities, and that is something that we need to correct. I can find you $8 million coming out of the general fund right now that is being spent in a place that we shouldn't be spending it. For example, we went down to Houston, and when we were talking to Houston about how they're addressing their homeless problem, they spend $0 out of their general fund, $0 out of their general fund on homelessness. Currently, we spend over $4 million a year out of our general fund on homelessness. We shouldn't be spending a dime out of there. We can save $4.5 million tomorrow if we wanted by, instead of spending that on that, we could be spending it on police, we could be spending it on fire. We have fire station needs all throughout the city. There are monies, again, that we're spending on the arts, and I love the arts, but art is not a core government function. We exist to provide for the infrastructure and keep our people safe. So what we need to do is we need to first and foremost address the portions of our budget that should not be spent the way that they are. And again, there's significant savings to be found in that space. After that, that's not going to get us all the way to our $16.5 million projected budget deficit. And so after we reduce the spending there, we need to have a serious look at what are the ways that we can streamline the current services that we have to ensure that we can reduce our budget in different ways. As every single person in the city of Spokane is feeling right now, they're tightening their belt a little bit, because of the economic climate. The city of Spokane is no different. We need to also be tightening our belt. We just passed the $7 million levy last year. We're asking for more money now. And personally, I think it's offensive to the taxpayer to be asking for more money when there are clear efficiencies that we can be finding. So first and foremost, start with the ways that we're wasting our money, fix that, and then we can address other things.
Okay. And the 6th and final question is, what do you think are some of the top concerns for business owners, and again, you've got a unique perspective on that, and their employees, and how would you address these unique needs?
So the unique needs of business owners, again, is it's a difficult space to be building a business, right? I think I heard it said this morning that in 2014, Washington State was the 6th best place to run a business, and today it's in the mid-40s. There's a lot of issues that we're dealing with that are outside of our control. One of the things we need to be doing is building strong relationships with our state representatives to where we can be affecting state policies that are hurting our businesses. In a time, again, where we had a $4 billion surplus at the state level 4 years ago. We were at a $17 billion deficit at the state level. And again, that just comes down to making sure that we're holding our elected officials accountable to make sure that they are spending our dollars wisely. But again, if you make Spokane safe, people are going to want to work here. The thing that I hear about downtown businesses specifically all the time, but businesses throughout the city, is, again, the tax burden is just too high. It's just too high. Now, there are certain areas where the city of Spokane can choose not to raise taxes, and we absolutely should be making those decisions to not raise taxes, not raise fees where it doesn't make sense, and create a space where employees want to be coming to work. When your employees are wanting to come to work, when they're wanting to work for your businesses, you're going to increase productivity, you're going to increase output, you're going to increase tax revenue. And so actually, by the city of Spokane taking the approach that we should reduce government regulation, we should be reducing the amount of spending that we're having, it actually will increase the tax base that we have by just allowing businesses to do what they need to do. And we need to get on it quickly, because What Seattle doesn't deal with, that we deal with, is that Idaho is just a stone's throw away. And I hear regularly from businesses that they're ready to just pack up and go to Idaho, and that's going to be a huge problem for us. And so in Spokane, again, we need to create a stronger, more thriving business environment where business owners feel as if they belong. One of the toughest things for me is that as a business owner, in the city council chambers, often I hear how business owners are demonized by our elected leadership, and I think that's immediately something that needs to change. We talk about business owners as if they're thieves. You know, we heard it again on Monday night. They're just thieves, they're crooks, they're building their own personal wealth on the backs of their employees, rather than understanding that it's business owners who are actually creating a space for families to have good livable wage jobs, good paying jobs, because government doesn't create anything, government only takes. And so by speaking well of businesses, attracting businesses, creating an environment where businesses can succeed, what we're going to find is, again, all the things that government espouses, all the things that they're trying to accomplish, are just accomplished by allowing the market to work. That's what we need to be doing.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you joining us today and sharing your views. And so I want to go ahead and give you 4 minutes to do a closing statement, anything that we haven't addressed.
Yeah. Well, again, just want to say thanks to everybody here for letting me be here. It has truly been an honor to serve in this position, and I hope that I get to continue to serve in this position. I think, again, in the city of Spokane, we just don't have enough folks who've actually had to go out and create something for themselves being represented in the city. I ran for office because my business was severely affected by heavy-handed government action, and I speak specifically about the response to COVID. You know, a business that was once thriving, we were buying space downtown. We had 13 employees. We had 3 franchises that were being opened up. You know, with the swipe of a pen, it was taken away from us. And what I don't think many government officials understand is that they can't create that. They can only destroy that. And so government regulation has seriously impacted my family and the way that we're able to do business, and that perspective needs to be heard. I hope that what I can do in this position is to continue to champion and elevate businesses so that they know that Spokane is a place where they can prosper, where they can succeed, that their families are going to want to live here. They're going to be able to enjoy the natural beauty because Spokane is no longer overrun with drugs and trash and crime. Again, it's hard to describe how simple the solution really is if we just made Spokane a safe and clean city. All of the things that we're trying to accomplish, I think, come through. There is government regulation that needs to be addressed as well. You know, we've helped to remove a lot of the regulation when it comes to housing production in the city of Spokane, and it's amazing what happens when government gets out of the way. We've seen record numbers 5 years in a row by just reducing the unnecessary and burdensome regulations. By removing those, we're seeing record investment and record development, and there's no reason why we shouldn't be doing that around a number of other issues. We have biosciences that are wanting to come in here, and we should create a thriving environment for them. We have, again, a tech sector here that's doing some great stuff. There's a lot that's really special in the city of Spokane where people are going to want to be here if we just get government out of the way, which is a big focus of mine. How do we just make Spokane a place where people don't have to jump through as much red tape, go through as many hoops as they have to currently, so that they can build a business here in the city of Spokane. And I will know that I have been successful in my time on council when people like my wife, you know, are really, really excited to be here and see themselves here for the future. So I hope that I can do the same for many families, that Spokane is the place they choose.
Okay. Well, again, thank you, Councilman Bingle, for joining us for this event today. And from the SBA standpoint, as a business advocacy organization, we encourage everyone to make sure you're registered to vote. If you're an employee or employer, make sure your employees are engaged. Get them engaged in the process because this is a chance for us to have our voices heard in November. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Appreciate it.